Thank you, Dr. Partha, and we wish you all the best for the elections also. and very good morning, dear friends. With me, Dr. Shri Ganesh is here as the co-instructors of this instruction course. I will be speaking on overview and workup of phakic IUL. So I will be a phakic intraocular lens, I think most of us must be knowing, and a few of you must also be practicing it, is a lens placed inside the eye in front of patient's natural crystalline lens. And this is used to correct the refractive errors. These are available in three types: angle supported, iris fixed phakic IOLs, and posterior chamber phakic IOLs. We will be restricting ourselves to the posterior chamber phakic IOLs. Various types of IOLs have been used in the past since 1953, more than 70 years ago they have been used, and variety of the lenses were used in the angle, iris fixated, and of various designs, shape were there. This was one lens which is a very size lens which was used earlier. This was FDA approved for myopia correction, made up of PMMA. A large incision was required, almost 5.5 millimeter incision was required, and there was a chance of endothelial cell loss, and there was, because of the small size of optic, there was an edge glare, and then in this particular case, as you can see, there has been a disenclavation after a couple of years of phakic IOL. Then it came in foldable version also, but all these cases in Acrisoft, they came out with a Cachet phakic lens, but all these were never been that popular as popular the phakic IOL or ICL, or now Indian version IPCL is. In 1986, the present design was started, what we are using in ICL and IPCL. This design came out by Fyodorov in 1986, which was a collar button or mushroom configuration lens, which was placed behind the iris like this, as you can see, like the present ICL is. The advantages of posterior chamber phakic lens is that it is behind the iris, far from the endothelium, excellent cosmesis, it is invisible to the eye, close to the nodal point of the eye, there is a gain in retinal size imaging, and greater effective optical zone at the corneal plane. As it is located in the sulcus, it's stable, and we can use a toric modification for the correction of cylindrical power, and it is easily removable, exchangeable, no fixation into tissues like iris or so, and does not alter shape or remove tissue like corneal based procedures like LASIK, etc. ICL is made up of a Collamer material. There is a central vault. Now, what is vault? The anterior configuration of the lens is called a vaulting of the lens. So, this should be anterior towards the corneal side, and this is foldable. It absorbs ultraviolet radiation, but the only thing which is more important is that it is the success depends on the size what we are using. So we will be dealing it further in the for later part of this course. The advantage of ICL material is that Collamer attracts fibronectin. Collamer attracts fibronectin. It forms a layer, and this prevents the proteins to come and adhere to the surface of the lens. This is the Collamer material which is with no protein deposition on it, and silicon there are so many deposits which are there. So this therefore, because of the material quality of the material which is used, there is a maximum light transmission because of the small molecular size, and shorter than wavelength of the light is there. So that's why the maximum light is transmitted. Better optical performance, excellent transmittance, and low reflectance pattern. It is very flexible, and it can be made very thin also, and we can impart power to it. And there are less glare and halos issue along with this material. It comes in the range from minus 0.5 diopters to minus 18 diopters, and in toric also it is same, and the cylindrical power which we can correct is up from 0.5 diopters to 6 diopters. Hyperopic lenses are also available, but we use it, the use is limited because the anterior chamber depth is an issue. It comes in 0.5 to 10 diopters with 0.5 diopters steps. From 0.5 to minus 0.5 to minus 3 diopters, it comes in 0.25 diopter steps, and after that in 0.5 diopters increments. The lens length could be 11.6 millimeter, 12.1, 12.6 and 13.2 millimeter. The new Centraflow ICL, which is not new now because it is there for last almost 4 to 5 years, it is a ICL V4 family, and it comes in BSS, unlike the previous version of ICL. So we'll focus on the current design only. There is a central port of 360 micron. This is the opening in the ICL which is of 360 micron in the center, as you can see here, and this is designed to restore more natural aqueous flow, and it eliminates the need for iridotomies. So with this, the aqueous can pass from behind the lens to the into the anterior chamber, and this way the proper flow of aqueous and nutrition to the lens is maintained, and even at low volt this works very nicely. And there are the perioptic two ports on the either side which are designed to facilitate removal of OVD, and it provides redundancy for the central optic port. Means they act as a spare opening in case if the central opening gets occluded, but I have yet to see any case where the central opening has got occluded because of the proteins present in the aqueous humors. So the newer Vision ICL, the optic diameter has been increased from 0.5 diopters up to minus 14 diopters. Our optic diameter is 6.05 millimeter. This is very good, and above that it is 5.8 millimeter only. So coming to the workup, it is like any refractive workup which we do. I think most of us must be practicing refractive surgeon, or they must be doing the cataract surgery. The age recommended is 21 to 45 years, but the most important criteria is that refraction should be stable. There should not be any change more than 0.5 diopters in last 1 year. It is good for LASIK rejects due to high myopia, when the myopia is say more than 7, 8 or 9 diopters, or that cornea is thin, less than 500 micron, there is a presence of dry eye, large pupil sizes there, excessively flat or steep corneas are there, when there are chances of LASIK complications. And there should not be any previous ophthalmic surgery, but this is relative because Dr. Mahipal will be sharing with us the complex situations. And there should not be any ocular pathology like presence of cataract, glaucoma, uveitis. Keratoconus is again, if it is stabilized by CXL, then we can use this. Fuchs dystrophy or any other corneal pathology like viral keratitis, etc. Preoperative assessment is very important. A comprehensive of the preoperative checkup should be done. Uncorrected and best corrected visual acuity under dilatation should be done. Refraction manifest and cycloplegic. Slit lamp examination, assessment of cornea, lens, angle, anterior chamber, etc. There should not be any glaucoma. Angle should remain open, grade 3 to 4, and corneal topography and keratometry is done. Endothelial cell count should be more than 2000. Complete fundus examination, especially the peripheral retina. The two important thing which is more new for this, for the beginners, is the anterior chamber depth measurement. The anterior chamber depth should be excluding the corneal thickness. It should be more than or equal to 2.8, or rather better it is, Dr. Ramamurthy is there, please come on the dial. It should be 3 millimeter anterior chamber depth excluding the corneal thickness. And another important thing is measurement of corneal horizontal wide to wide. So anterior chamber depth is should be 2.8 millimeter from the posterior surface of the cornea. Coming to the white to white measurement. Measurement is simple and the best way is by the caliper. This is the caliper which we use regularly in our squint surgery and other corneal surgeries, and this is a digital caliper. We should check the verify the simple caliper measurement on a ruler. In the market, you will get a ruler which is a scale, which is a metallic scale. This can be sterilized, and then this caliper can be checked whether the calibration on the caliper is as accurate as it is on the ruler. Better way to measure is white to white is digital caliper, which should be cross verified by other equipment. Apart from digital caliper, we can use OrbScan, which gives a fairly good reading if you have Pentacam and IOL Master. UBM gives us a internal sulcus to sulcus, the real way to where the ICL will be implanted, but it's difficult and there are chances of the fallacy due to the person to person. Vernier caliper under microscope, some advanced autorefractor also gives us this reading, but reading with IOL Master is slightly on a hard side. That should be noted. White to white measurement should be done under microscope in high resolution. It should be done in a supine position. Patient should be in a lying down position. From middle of the limbus to middle of the limbus, it should be done. Pre-treat the eye with anesthetic drop and calibrate the caliper before the use. You can see this is a digital caliper and we are measuring the white to white under the normal surgical microscope. It is 11.16 and you can check it with the IOL Master or other optical biometers which you have. So accurate preoperative white to white and anterior chamber depth measurement is important. ICL provides a vault, that is the distance between the anterior lens surface and the ICL. Ideal sized ICL gives vault of 0.25 to 0.75 millimeter. That is, if we compare on the slit lamp, that is half the corneal thickness to 1.5 times the corneal thickness. This can easily be assessed on the slit lamp. Undersized ICL, the vault will be less and increased risk of anterior subcapsular cataract formation, and an oversized ICL more than 1 millimeter vault push the iris forward and close the angles, which could lead to the rise in intraocular pressure. After this, we send the data to the company, or we can check the ICL size and the number, power of the lens, online calculator also. Then it comes like this. We have this power minus 11.5 with minus 1.5 cylinder with the excess of 10 degree. Keratometry is there, anterior chamber depth has to be filled in, corneal thickness has to be mentioned, white to white measurement 10.7 millimeter. Then they will suggest the report of the lens which will come, that is a toric ICL with 12.1 millimeter size and like this, and this will be the expected residual refractive power which the patient will have, and they will give you the number of the ICL also which is reserved for it, and these lenses do not require PIs in the surgery. So with this basic overview and basic pre-operative workup, we will proceed further, and if you have any questions, Dr. Ramamurthy or Dr. Sri Ganesh will be the next speaker.